Jessica here, Yoga for Everybody, representing Yoga Love, the online yoga magazine. I'm here to teach you guys how to practice a basic sun salutation. So let's join together on our mats in a mountain pose, standing with the feet hip-width apart. Beginning in this strong mountain pose, stacking the joints, shoulders in alignment with the hips, hips in alignment with the knees, and the knees will be directly above the ankle. Feet will be hip-width apart. We can even spread those toes nice and wide and press down into the mat. Establish a firm base here in the mountain pose. Crown of the head lifts straight up to the sky. Bottom of the feet sink down into the earth. We can spread the fingers nice and wide, activating every muscle in the body. And after we've established that deep belly breathing pattern, we can bring the hands to the heart center. Inhale, bring the arms up over the head for standing mountain. And then we can exhale, hinging at the hips, swan diving to forward fold. Full breath here. We could take a little bend or a deep bend in the knees in this forward fold pose. And on the next inhale, we will bring the fingertips to the shins. And we'll bring the back parallel to the earth so that we can practice this monkey pose. Just for one inhale before we transition to downward facing dog. First planting the hands on the mat, shoulder width apart, and then stepping one foot back at a time before we bring that head and neck down and the booty up. For downward facing dog, full breath here. Next inhale, we'll go ahead and turn the head so we can see the hands. And we'll bring the right foot forward for just a nice low lunge. Okay, so we'll drop the left knee on the mat. We'll flatten the left toes. We'll bring the right ankle in alignment with the right knee, coming up onto the fingertips. And then up above on either side of the ears for a little more of a challenge. If we're feeling really advanced today, we could try a full lunge, a high lunge, by curling the back toes under and then extending that back leg straight so it's completely lifted off the mat. And again, choosing either to bring the arms up or at the heart center. And then we can go ahead and plant the hands and step back to this forward fold pose. The feet hip-width apart. Again, either a little bend or a deep bend in the knees. Resting the head and neck for one full breath. And then inhaling to monkey. Bringing those fingertips to the shins. A little smile always helps in the monkey pose. Exhaling back down to forward fold, and then we'll go ahead and hinge at the hips, swooping the arms up and around. Deep bend in the knees as we inhale, arms up, and exhale back to prayer. Okay, now this time when we go through a sun salutation, I'll show you a couple more modification options that we can practice in the sun salutation if we're not feeling quite as balanced or quite as strong today, and we want a nice restorative option. I'll go ahead and show you how to utilize a chair to elevate the level of the floor. So, first of all, we'll make sure that the chair is on the mat. At least two of the legs of the chair will need to be on the mat to avoid slipping. Okay, and then what we'll do is, when we inhale up and exhale down, instead of coming all the way down to the floor, we could just rest the hands on the chair. And then we could still relax the head and neck too. Inhaling to monkey, then we could just keep the hand on the chair, or we could bring it to the shins again if we wanted to. And then exhaling, we'll plant the hands and step back to down dog. Full breath here. Next inhale, we'll go ahead and turn the head so we can see the hands, and then we'll bring that left foot forward for the lunge. Remembering, of course, we could keep that back leg extended straight for this high lunge, and we can keep the hands on the chair for support. Or we could drop the knee, flatten those back toes, and then maybe we could try releasing off the chair, bringing the hands to prayer, or up on either side of the head. Or, of course, if we're feeling more stable, we do have that option to try the high lunge. And we could keep the hands on the chair again for extra support. And then exhaling back to the front of the mat, feet hip width apart for forward fold. Again, you making sure we can utilize that chair to elevate the level of the floor. Inhaling to monkey, exhaling back to forward fold. Reverse swan dive, inhaling as the arms come up, and exhaling to prayer. Okay, so that is another option that we have for practicing the sun salutation. If we're feeling really strong today, we can try the more advanced version of the sun salutation. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So, standing in this strong mountain pose. Again, we'll inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, swan diving to forward fold. Inhaling to monkey. And this time when we exhale, we'll plant the hands and we'll jump to down dog. Little hop. Full breath here. And then on the next inhale, we can come to the top of a push-up position. It's called the plank pose. So we're bringing the shoulders directly above the wrist. And the feet stay hip width apart, of course. And then we'll exhale down, keeping the elbows in, flipping the feet. And right before we hit the floor, we'll come up and inhale to this upward facing dog pose. Again, keeping those legs completely off the mat. So we're balanced on the hands and the tops of the feet here. Next inhale, we'll curl the toes, and then we'll exhale and we'll transition to downward facing dog for a full breath. Next inhale, we'll bring the head up so we can see the hands, and we can scooch that right foot forward, coming up to a high lunge. And then on the next exhale, transitioning to forward fold for a full breath. Inhaling monkey. Exhaling forward fold. Swan diving as we inhale up and exhale back to mountain. Okay, so now I'd like to show you one other option we have for the sun salutations for those of us who are not quite ready to do that advanced version, but you're a little too advanced for the modified version with the chair. So for those of you who may find yourself in that position in the middle, you might enjoy this final version of a sun salutation, which involves essentially modifying that push-up that we did, that yoga push-up. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Of course, same as before, starting in the strong mountain pose. We'll inhale, bring the arms up over the head. And then we'll exhale, we'll swan dive to forward fold for a full breath. Inhaling to that monkey pose. Exhaling, hopping or walking to down dog for a full breath. This time when we inhale, we'll bring the knees to the mat, we'll flatten the toes, and we'll come into this modified plank position, top of a push-up. Exhaling down, same as before, we'll keep the elbows in, but instead of bringing it up to upward facing dog pose, this time we'll come all the way down to the floor, and on the inhale of the breath, we'll take a gentle back bend, the cobra pose. Okay, so notice how the legs stay hip width apart and the elbows stay in, shoulders down. And the core muscles here and the back, they're all working here. There's very little weight in the hands in cobra pose. And then on the next inhale with the breath, we can curl those toes under, and then we'll exhale and we'll push up to the top of a push-up. We'll exhale all the way back to down dog. Feel free to take a breath or two to make that transition. Resting breath here. Next inhale, we'll turn so you can see the hands. And then we'll inhale and bring the left foot forward. And then again, experimenting with the different versions of this lunge. Either keeping that back knee on the mat or off. And then again, bringing the arms to the prayer position or up by the ears. Shoulders are still down here, chest is open, crown of the head lifts to the sky. And exhaling to forward fold, feet hip width apart for a full breath. Inhaling to monkey pose. Exhaling, forward fold. Reverse swan dive. Inhaling as the arms come up. And exhaling back to prayer. So that's all the tips that I have for you guys on just a basic sun salutation. Again, lots of different options that we have there. So feel free to experiment with all the different versions and modifications and props that we can use to help assist us in the sun salutation, and most importantly, have fun with it. Because here on Yoga Love, the online yoga magazine, we know that yoga is love. So if it's not fun, if it doesn't bring you joy, then modify it a little bit so that it feels good. Be sure to stay tuned for more tips and videos on the website, yoga-love.com, or find us on Facebook. Namaste.